Shalom, it's Tila from the Kafar with our Hebrew verb lessons. This is lesson number 42, and we are continuing to learn how to conjugate nifal verbs in the present tense. And so in lesson 41, we started with just the regular nifal pattern, and so we're going to learn a second pattern today. But as always, we're going to review the exercise verbs from the last video. But before we get into that, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I also want to tell you about my new guide to conjugating Hebrew verbs that'll help you as you go through these lessons and beyond. You can see samples on my website. The link is in the description below. It covers the past, present, and the future tense conjugation patterns for all 7 binyanim. So for those of you who've been asking about the other binyanim or the future tense for the ones we've done so far, now you don't have to wait. You can download your verb guide from thekifar.com/shop, and you can check the video description for a direct link. Okay, so now for our exercise verbs. So we learned how to conjugate regular nifal verbs in the present tense. And the first practice verb was lehisager, which is to be closed. And this is the passive counterpart of the pa'al verb lisgor, which is to close. So we get rid of the first 3 letters, the lamed, hey, and the yod, and we're left with samech, gimel, and resh. And these are our 3 root letters. And we know that, of course, this is the nifal binyan, and this is a regular verb. And so we also learned in the last lesson that all nifal verbs in the present tense start with nun, and our masculine singular sound pattern is ni-a. So with the letters of our root, that becomes nisgar, and the feminine singular is nisgeret, okay? So going from a to an e sound, nisgar, nisgeret. And then we go back to the masculine singular, and we just add our plural endings for the masculine and feminine. So nisgarim and nisgarot. So nisgar, nisgeret, nisgarim, and nisgarot. And our second verb was lehishaer, which is to remain or to stay. And this is just a regular active nifal verb. There's no relation to the pa'al binyan. So we get rid of these first 3 letters, the lamed, hey, and the yod, and we're left with shin, aleph, resh. And we know, again, this is a nifal. It's our regular verb type. And so our masculine singular, nishar, feminine singular, nisheret, masculine plural, nisharim, and feminine plural, nisharot. Okay, so if you have any questions about these verbs, review lesson 41. It's available in the Hebrew Verb Lessons playlist on my channel. And if you review the video and you still have more questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to help out. Okay, so the verb type that we are going to learn about in today's lesson are Het-ayin Nifal verbs. So if you've been keeping up with the verb videos, you know that Het-ayin verbs across the various binyanim are verbs where the last letter of the shoresh, or the last letter of our root, is chet or ayin, okay? Hence why we call them Het-ayin verbs. So the verb that we're going to use to illustrate this pattern is lehishalach, okay? Here it is with the vowels. Sometimes you'll also hear it as lehishaleach, but lehishalach is more common. And lehishalach is to be sent, okay? And in this case, this nifal verb is passive, okay? To be sent. And it does have an active pa'al counterpart, and that's lishloach, to send, okay? Different binyan, but same root. So to find the root, we're going to do the same thing that we did with regular nifal verbs, and that's to eliminate the lamed, eliminate the hey and the yod, and we're left with our 3 root letters, the shin, the lamed, and the chet. And as you can see here, our shoresh ends with chet. So the conjugation pattern for Het-ayin Nifal verbs is almost exactly like regular nifal verbs. There's only one exception, and that's for the feminine singular. Okay, so for the regular group, the feminine singular has that double S sound pattern, like nisgeret, or nisheret, or nichneset. For the Het-ayin group, we have an a sound pattern. Okay, instead of the it's just a. So you just pretty much have that same a sound all the way through. So when we plug in the root letters, it looks and sounds like this. Nishlach, nishlachat, nishlachim, and nishlachot. Okay, so for the masculine singular and for both of our plurals, it's the exact same sound pattern that we had for the regular nifal verbs. Where we have the difference is with the feminine singular. So where for a regular verb, it would be, for example, nichneset. For a Het-ayin verb, it's nishlachat, okay? So a as opposed to e. So he is sent, or it is sent, if it is a singular masculine noun, hu nishlach, okay? She is sent or it is sent if it was a feminine noun. Hi nishlachat. Okay, we are sent. Anachnu nishlachim. And they are sent, they feminine. Hen nishlachot. Okay, so that's it. Really simple lesson today. Again, this Het-ayin pattern is almost identical to the regular pattern. The only difference is with the feminine singular. And I also want to remind you that I have a blank Hebrew verbs conjugation chart that you can use for these exercises. The link for that is also in the video description. So you can use that to practice your various conjugation. Your first exercise verb is lehishama, also pronounced as lehishamea, but lehishama is more common. And lehishama means to be heard. And the second verb is lehimana. Lehimana is to be prevented or to abstain. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to follow the same pattern that we just did, our het-ayin pattern. Both of these end in ayin. So we're going to do the same thing that we just did with the verb lehishalach. Okay, so that wraps it up. Don't forget to like this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed with the notifications turned on so you know whenever a new video drops. As toda la tzfiya, thank you for watching, and here are a couple of other videos that you might find useful. Until next time, lehitraot.